Hello, 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 everyone. My name is Ted Williams III, and I am the host of our Friday Health Talk of the Week for the Far South Chicago Coalition. And we're excited today because we have a health and fitness segment. This is actually our second time doing this health and fitness segment, and I just love talking to these folks. And so it's time for the holidays, people, and we already know what's about to happen in these holidays, ladies and gentlemen. Many of us are going to go to these family events and start eating and enjoying ourselves and drinking and hanging out and not exercising. And then on January 1st, we try to get it together. Well, maybe we could try something a little bit different this year. Maybe we can try to get our fitness goals started early. And so I'm going to introduce you to some wonderful guests in just a moment. But before that, we have a short video for you to watch to give you some information on what's going to be happening next month in the city of Dolton. And so I want to go ahead and give that to you, and then we'll introduce our wonderful guest. Well, all right. Welcome, and a welcome. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce our wonderful guests that we have here. And we are super excited to welcome them back to our Health Talk of the Week, sponsored by the Far South Chicago Coalition. Dr. Tonya Roberson is really the creator of this series and the producer of this series to really help people think about their health. And we do a variety of health issues, from mental health issues to physical health issues. We talk about diseases, and we have experts on. So we're so excited to have you guys here. So sit back, relax, and as my friend over at WVON, Chat Daddy would say, I got to steal one of his phrases. Grab the drink of your choice, right? He always talks about that when I listen to his show, and I've been on the show a few times, and he talks about just sit back, whatever that is, for the next 45 minutes or so, and enjoy this time. And hopefully this will help you with your goals. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our phenomenal guest here today. So first of all, we have Siddiqu, the personal trainer, who has really pulled this group of people together. And really, I'm excited to hear what he has to say. And then we have Mayor Tiffany Henyard from the city of Dolton, who is back with us again. We had a challenge last time that we were here together with Mayor Tiffany and Siddiqu, and they challenged me. I didn't come, by the way, to their challenge. I feel bad. They probably think I was scared, but I wasn't. I just got caught up and got busy. But we're going to talk again about how we all can challenge ourselves to be more physically fit, and so I'm super excited about that. Last but not least, we have Mr. Ed Calahan from the Calahan family, Calahan Funeral Homes, Calahan Foundation. And Siddiqu is his personal trainer. He is a community leader, and we are so happy to have you and the work that you do in the community. I was talking, I believe, your sister invited me to one of your events to speak to your foundation a few months ago. And I really have a lot of respect for your family and what you do in the community. So thank you for being here. Anyway, so Siddiqu, talk to me, brother. You got a lot going on. Why don't you talk to us about not only that, we'll get into the events and stuff, but the holidays are coming up, Siddiqu. And I know you train both of these people down here, so these are like they're not only spokespeople, but they're also clients, right? So they can tell you whether the product is good. But Siddiqu, tell us what we ought to be thinking about as these holidays come up, what you're working on, and how you can inspire our community to be more healthy, not only for the holiday season but beyond. Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. I apologize, Siddiqu. Siddiqu is muted, and I was going to say, hey, bro, I muted him, so forgive me, okay? It's all my fault. Go ahead, Siddiqu. My bad.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is a great time. This is a great time that people want to just start over new. When you talk about a new year, it's going to be what, 2021 went by really, really fast. So with it being a new year, people want to set New Year's resolutions. They want to set goals. And we're just here to help people hit them. One of the suggestions I would give anybody is when you set a goal, try not to set a goal that's too lofty. Try to set a smaller goal. So as opposed to losing 100 pounds, set a goal of losing 5 pounds. As opposed to being in the best shape of your life, set a goal to work out 3 times a week. So that's always my suggestion for people whenever they're starting their New Year's resolutions or starting a new year off trying to be more healthy.
That is fantastic. So both of you, Mayor Tiffany, this is a real passion of you for you, Mayor Henyard, in your administration in Dolton. You guys have put on a number of events. Why is this so important to you, and what have you been doing since you've been in office that has promoted this issue of health and fitness?
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you, yes.
Okay. Well, first I want to say thank you for inviting us back, me and the wonderful
Absolutely.
What I've done since I've been out the last 6 months is promote healthy living throughout Dolton. Siddiqu came on board, and we did a lot of great initiatives throughout the summer. We did workouts in front of fitness. We did a hip hop workout. We did a house hair workout. You name it, we did it. So I just want to still encourage the residents to know that it's never too late to get fit. It's never too late to start. And it's never too late to pick up where you left off at. So that's kind of what we're trying to do now. We got a big event come January 23rd at Thornridge High School. It is going down in Dolton. So if you don't know about it, don't be about it. Come hear about it. Basically, come show up and show out for us.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. We can hear you, but it's a little bit in and out. So it's a little staticky, but it's okay. I know she'll figure it out. But basically what she said is they've been doing the business, folks, around this health and fitness issue. Siddiqu, can you just reiterate the event that she mentioned so that people can understand?
January 23rd, we're doing a free event. It's going to be free for the entire community. It's a beginner's workout, intermediate. So people that are just falling off of their New Year's resolutions, they can come to the class and have a great time. And then we're going to have Edric Calahan at the bottom. We're going to have him out there. Whenever I do a class, this guy comes through and he's just the ultimate motivator. He's kind of like my mentor. He doesn't really want to claim that, but this guy's a huge inspiration. And our exercise classes, when you get him on the mic, he's in the crowd, he's with the people. I just like the energy that he brings. So it wouldn't even be right to do a class and not bring him as just a huge asset. Mayor Henyard, she throws the lob, she sets it up for the people to come out. She makes sure all of her events are free. That's amazing. So she takes away that excuse. You can't say I don't want to pay. She also has a setup so we have an on-site daycare, so you can't say you don't have anybody to watch your kids. And then we got Edric Calahan that comes through as the ultimate motivator. So it's just like an all-star game for exercise and fitness going on January 23rd, right after church, 2 to 3 p.m. You just got to register, come there, and it's going to be a great time.
So rather than going to the buffet after church,
right?
You're suggesting that they come and get a sweat after church, right?
Absolutely, and then go to the buffet. Then go to the
buffet after that. They'll do it better that way.
Knock yourself out.
Absolutely, Brother Ed. Why don't you tell us how you got engaged in this work? Once again, I know that you and your family do a lot in the community. Why is this issue important to you, and what is your connection to the work that Siddiqu and Mayor Henyard are doing? Oh yeah, we've got an audio issue going on with you now. It's so funny. I apologize, you guys. We were all clear on this audio before we started, and I'm not sure what's going on there. But
can you hear me? Can you hear me?
We can hear you better. Yes.
Okay. Well, my parents have always been big into health, specifically my mother. And being in the funeral business, you see people die all ages, all reasons. So subconsciously, you find yourself being engaged in topics regarding health and overall health. And so, again, Siddiqu has been my family's trainer for probably 15 years. And in doing so, he's become a part of our family, and he's always been big on just overall health. And so as a family, we've always been big on speaking at schools, being involved in the community, And so we just kind of brought it all together, and he and I have been doing this for years now.
That's fantastic. So, Siddiq, I want to just throw a couple statistics out because I think it's important to have a large picture of what's going on and really why these things are a solution, the work that you are doing. So, in the United States of America, literally the cost of obesity in this country is $644 billion every year. If you look at Germany, they spend about 411. This is all in healthcare cost. Canada 295, Italy 234, the UK 168, China 52. But we lead the world in this, right? If you look at the obesity rates between the year of 1999 and 2000, they were at about 29%. But increasingly they are gone up. And now that we're in 2018, those numbers were at 42%. We are looking at an issue of people really not being in shape in this country. And it's not just about activity. Activity is important, but we've got bad food and those sorts of things are important as well. 56% of people in this country are trying to lose weight, 27% trying to maintain, 13% are not concerned, and 4% are trying to gain weight. So can you give us some tips on nutrition, which I think is important? I'm going to talk a little about nutrition, and then I want to talk about working out and why that's so critical and why it's important. And I got to tell you all, I love this topic because I'm all about this. It is so critical and so important. And I hope you're listening, and I hope you share and tell someone else about this. We got some great folks in this room. You need to know about them, and people need to hear what they're saying. So, Siddiq, give us a couple nutrition tips, would you please?
All right. Number one nutrition tip that you can have is to drink more water. Okay. Your body can be made up of anywhere from 63 to 69% water. So water is just a critical part of how your body completely functions. Almost everyone, 9 out of 10 Americans, are dehydrated at some point during the day. So no one is drinking enough water. So water is very, very critical to your health. The second diet tip that I could give anyone is to eat less food. You always hear, I need to eat more food. I need to eat more food. I need to eat more food. America is one of the only places that you can be, and a homeless person can be 100 pounds overweight. You can't go anywhere else in the world and someone not even have a place to live, and they're finding just enough food to have an extra 100 pounds. So I always tell people to eat less. The ideal dinner time is 4 to 6 p.m. So you want to finish up eating dinner at around 6 p.m. to give yourself at least 4 hours between when you eat dinner and when you go to bed. If you're finishing up dinner at 9:30 and you're going to bed at 9:45, you're going to have a weight problem, because then you're going to wake up in the morning and you're going to find yourself dehydrated and you're going to think that you're starving. So between water, eating less food, controlling your dinner time, those are just 3 nutrition tips that I'll just throw out there and give anyone if you're trying to really control your diet.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Mayor Henyard, last time you were here, you talked about your own sort of training journey and your own sort of work in this space. Why don't you tell us a little about kind of what you're focused on personally in this, and then once again, how this sort of bleeds into your work and becomes a part of your mission.
She used to be 300 pounds. Mayor Henyard was 300 pounds at one point, everybody. Don't let her fool you. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, right, exactly. Basically, what I normally do is I'm into steps. So basically, I walk every day, I door knock every day. I'm into just cardio, basic, simple cardio. I'm into the abdomen, basically working out my lower part of my body, and Siddiq try to get me to do daily routines. It doesn't work, but normally, like I said before, if I'm sitting at a table or if I'm at a business meeting, I'm actually doing leg lifts underneath the table. That's some people don't know about me. So I'm working out, whether you see me working out or not, I'm actually doing something with my body movement. So that's how I kind of stay fit. And then I got my little 2-year-old daughter, Justice. She keep me active, she keep me busy and out of breath. So I stay fit in all types of ways.
That's awesome.
I got something to say about Mayor Henyard too. So when she won, she's the youngest mayor in Dolton history, right? Youngest mayor, yes. First female mayor, broke history. But yes. So what happened was when she won her seat, it was a lot of other Black women that won their seat at the same time. And when they put Mayor Henyard's picture up, she was like the smallest, fittest person out of everybody that was winning seats. So I felt proud and happy, because I'm like, look, man, come on. Like she's the model. She's the prototype of like what we need to see. Because as we know, African-American women lead the charge in obesity related diseases, being overweight, all of those things. And I think that Mayor Henyard is the example to show like you can be a mom. My mom says that she's still carrying around baby weight for me. I think it's juice. And Mayor Henyard's got a 2-year-old, and and she's walking around slim, trim, and fit. So she's the example and a prototype that you can be busy, you can be a businesswoman, you can have a busy schedule, but you can still have an active lifestyle.
Yes.
Fantastic. That is fantastic. You really hit on that issue that I think is important when you look at this obesity issue in our community. Hispanic kids. So we look at when you look at the issue of obesity for children, Hispanic children have a 41% obesity rate. African American children have a 37% obesity rate, and Caucasian children have a 29% obesity rate. And so there are disparities there. And so it is so important that it becomes a lifestyle issue for our community. I think it's really critical. We have a question in the chat box for for Mayor Henyard and for Ed, and I would like to do that. Then I'll come back around to Siddiq. So Dr. Tonya Roberson asked, why do you think that people have so many excuses? And Siddiq will come back around to you on that one. But the question for Ed and Mayor Henyard is, what keeps you motivated in this space? And Ed, I'll start with you. I'd love to hear sort of once again, I know you talked about your experiences with your work, but even personally, what drives you? And then I will add to that, what are you focused on? She talked about her steps. What are you focused on in your fitness journey?
For me, I gain weight easily, and so I'm just conscious about that by nature. But again, being in the funeral business is kind of the root of it. It's one thing to be old or older. It's another thing to have a great quality of life in your older age. And so just because you're 60, 50, 60, 70 years old doesn't mean that you have to, be in a space where you can't enjoy life. And you can't get to that age and then start to work on it. You have to do your best to, plant the seeds that you can have a quality of life now. And for me, we're workaholics, and I've learned that if I'm not in a space where, I'm doing some sort of workout, then that affects my ability to be effective in what I love to do, and that's handle our businesses. Also, I'm a very active person mentally. I'm always thinking, so I don't have the ability to do what most people do, and that's wake up in the morning and meditate and things of that nature. So through therapy and through Siddiq, about probably 16, 17 years ago, he challenged me to run a 5K. And at the time, I probably couldn't even run a mile. And in training, I learned that running was a meditation to me. It was where I found my peace. And now it's a thing that I have to do. I have to run multiple miles a day in exchange for what normal people would do as meditation. And that started due to my brother Siddiq about 17 years ago. And since then, my mother's become a runner, my sister's become a runner. As a family, we just run. I've slowed down. I used to do 6 to 8 miles a day, but I've learned that at some point, it can deteriorate your knees and things of that nature. So I've slowed down, but that's really, everything is rooted in my goals. If I can't tie my actions to my goals, it's pointless and a waste of time for me.
Yeah, that's extremely important. I'm going to come back around to this running thing, and Siddiq, I want to get your input on running versus walking versus cycling versus that sort of thing. So I got a lot of questions for you, but Mayor Henyard, I want to hear about your motivations. I know you're going to have to leave at some point. I know you've got mayoral duties to attend to, I'm sure, or whatever you have to do, man, family duties, I don't know, but I know that you said you have a limited time. So why don't you tell us a little about your motivation for your fitness commitment?
So I'm gonna tell you straight up how it is. Siddiq is my motivation. When I say he keeps me active, He keeps me active. He know I'm a house head, so he play work it, you work it. We do that all the time. So we on the floor, we in the air, we doing everything under the sun as a workout. And I love that because it keeps you motivated. If you can just tie it to something that you love, such as dance, that I love dance. So that makes you want to do it. And I try to motivate the high school the same exact way. They love footwork. They love just house head music. So if you can do that, if anybody's watching this, if you can do that in your schools, go visit a school and just play some music and you'll see how the kids react to it. That is your motivation. That's what keeps me motivated. I'm young at heart. I love it. But that's what keeps me active daily.
That is a beautiful thing. So I discovered a couple years ago, I was working out at LA Fitness. I played football in high school, so I still lift weights, and I was running back. So, but I lifted, but I noticed, like Brother Ed, I was picking up a little pounds. I was like, okay, I don't like this, so I got to get some more cardio. And so I was at LA Fitness in Morgan Park, which is like it's like the social, that's the LA Fitness. If you've ever been there before, it's just everybody's buzzing around, beautiful environment there. And I found a cycling class. And the reason why I found it was because I was in the gym lifting and this music was blasted. And like you, I like to dance too. And I'm hearing this music. I'm like, oh, what are they doing? And I walked in there and I got in that class and I got hooked. And I tell you, to your point, there are songs now that come on the radio that I can't hear without thinking about working out. Like, they make me want to start working out. They make me want to like start getting on my bike or moving or whatever. And that's a good thing. And I bet you Siddiqu has done that to you, right? So you probably can't hear certain songs without getting down to some push-ups or something like that because it's in your head. So, Siddiqu, why don't you talk to us a little about sort of, because everyone is at different levels, Mayor Henyard likes to dance. I like to dance. Ed likes to run. Some people, I do run, but I don't like it. So I'm not like Ed. I don't find peace in it. I'm like, oh gosh, here we go again, but I'll do it. But what about those people who say to you, Siddiqu, man, I can't do that. It's too much. I can't run. I can't dance. It's just too much. I need something simple. Can you help us understand the differences in activities and what works for different people?
Well, me being a professional dancer, so that's something that I'm passionate about. So it's hard for me to even understand.
They're laughing. I don't know what that's about.
No. I mean, it's intimidation. It's a laugh of fear. Even though Mayor Henyard, like, she may be one of the only mayors that I know that can footwork. When I show up, then it's like she's like humble. You know what I mean? Because there's levels.
She gets scared.
Yeah, that's levels. Yeah. And then and then my boy Ed, you would think that he could dance being Dominican, but you know what I mean? He has a hard time even dancing too. Like, I'm like, man, you got that whole Dominican thing going on. You would think that he would be able to dance, but it is what it is. But you know what I tell someone? Do what you enjoy doing. Do what you enjoy doing. Like, you will have someone that doesn't like biking, but then they buy a Peloton. And I'm like, well, if you don't like the bike, don't bike. If you don't like to swim, don't swim. Don't drown trying to get in shape. So do something that you like. So the brother picked up running. That was his thing. He likes to run. I watch him run and I'm out of breath. So I'm like, bro, you got that, champ. I want nothing to do with that. So even when he's out of shape, he can just run. I'm gonna tell you guys a story about Mr. Calahan here. So his mother trained for a marathon. His mother trained for a half marathon. This is a true story. Let me tell you why he's the son of the year. His mother does all of this training to get in shape for a half marathon. So I'm like, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to support her, Shirley Calahan. So he shows up and says, I'm going to support my mom too. So I'm like, okay, well, I only got one sign. So we both, hold the sign. He's like, no, I'm going to support her by running the half marathon. I said, no, you don't understand how this works. People train for this. This guy just shows up and just runs on some Diddy type time. And I'm like, bro, nobody shows up to a race and just runs without training. So, but he did it, man. So that guy's a machine. Don't let him fool you. This is really what he does. So
that was many years ago. I won't say I can do that today.
I'm not trying to hear none of that. Hey, okay, I'm gonna tell you a story. I got a marathon story. This is for Mayor Henyard and you guys. So everywhere I would go, people would ask me if I ever ran a marathon. And I was like, I had all these big words, and I was explaining to them why my body was just too fast and it wasn't designed to run a marathon. And I would tell this story everywhere I go. I'm like, I got these fast muscle twitch fibers, and I'm just too fast to run a marathon. So I went to a marathon one day, and I was just watching a marathon. And sure enough, a guy with no legs, little tink, he just came just tinking along with no legs, with them little robotic legs, and he was running a marathon. And I was so overcome with emotion because I had been lying to people for years why I couldn't run a marathon with my legs. And this guy with no legs decides to run a marathon. So ever since then, I just stopped lying to people. I didn't run a marathon, but I don't tell a lie no more. I just say I don't want to do it. That's just something I don't want to do.
That is wonderful. That's a hilarious story.
Changed my life.
A good inspiring story as well. So I want to ask you. I'm interested in this obesity question because I look at these numbers, right? So I gave you these numbers about kids in America. We also know that in the obesity rates, according to the federal government, close to 70% of African American males are considered to be obese, 69%, and 82% of African American females, which is, astronomical. But I'm also a little interested in these obesity rates and how they determine who's obese and who's not. And I would love to hear your thoughts about that, because I do understand that, obviously there are disparities among communities, but I also wonder if what is obese to one person is not obese to another, if that makes sense. So.
Absolutely. It's a number. It's a number. Your height plays a factor into the number, and surprisingly, to a small percentage, your age plays a part in the number. So when you're talking about obese, it's non-discriminatory. It's directly related to diseases. As we know, cancer lives in fat cells. When you talk about type 2 diabetes, when you talk about hypertension, when you talk about strokes, when you talk about almost every disease, it's weight related. So when someone's like, oh, well, I like my shape, or I feel comfortable at this weight, it has nothing to do with how you feel that you look. It has something to do with your organs. You take a car, for instance. You see a big truck, it's an F-150. It has an engine to push an F-150. It has tires for F-150. It has a door. Everything is set up for it to be a big truck. You take a Nissan Altima and you try to hook up the same thing that you will pull with an F-150, eventually you're going to have problems. And your body is honest. Some people will say, oh, I have knee problems. I'm like, no, you have a stomach problem, because your stomach can't carry around all of that, with on your knees. So your body is honest. When you talk about diseases, when you talk about getting on medication, it's not about how you look. So when you're talking about obese, you're talking about obesity-related diseases. It doesn't care what you think. It's not, oh, well, that's a white person's weight. You hear somebody say that, oh, that's a white lady's weight. Listen, what you weighed in high school, you can't say that's a white lady weight. So my mom always says, we all was thin, but my mom always says that the reason that she's big now is because that's how our family is designed. And I'm like, no, y'all just eat like a big person and you became a big person. So it's just about the food. Oh, I see somebody in the back. Who is that? I see somebody in the back. Who is that? There she go.
Is that the marathon runner?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, well, your story is very inspiring, extremely inspiring.
And Miss Calahan used to be 300 pounds too, everybody. She was 300 pounds.
No.
Look at her now. Look at her now, everybody. Listen. But I'm gonna tell you guys this. Edric was a big baby. They said that his head was the same size now as it was when she gave birth. Edric was a huge baby, but
Siddiqu, you were rough, man. I mean,
that's my brother. He all right.
Ed, do I need to give you the opportunity to counter, to rebut him? Because
oh my God,
this guy's for you, man.
This guy
has been coming for you since the show started.
This is never ending. This is never ending. When we hired him because he was trying to be a professional triangle player. and
Oh,
failed horribly.
right there.
And so we said, man, we'll start letting him train us, and
Gotcha,
kind of just
gotcha.
worked out for him.
I'm gonna tell you guys this. This is a true story. Edric has an amazing singing voice. This is true. Now, this isn't a joke. This guy really can sing. This guy has an amazing singing voice. He doesn't like people to know that he can sing. When he found out that I was a professional triangulist, he felt there was a rivalry between him and I because he doesn't play an instrument. So that's what happened. He's like, "Oh, you can play the triangle, I can sing," and I'm like, "We don't have to be rivals." So he wanted us to collaborate, and I'm a soloist. So he always took that personal. So he brings it up as a kind of dig to me because he feels a certain kind of way that he
A solo triangle player, right? Yeah.
Well, no, not a solo. It's called a triangulist. That's the
triangle. Excuse me. Please forgive me. I apologize. You guys are funny, man. You guys are hilarious. There's a lot of love in this room. Y'all are really y'all are boys, man. It's very obvious, and that's a wonderful thing, man. You know, it really, really is. You know, so I don't know what to believe here now anymore. I don't know. I don't know what to believe, what not to believe, but it is what it is. So, so yeah, I tell you, I think why don't you, Siddiq? I will not forget this. We met. I've done a bunch of these shows. I have all kind of conversations and stuff like that, and a lot of stuff flying in my head. I will never forget what you said on our last show. This was a couple of months ago. And you said, and I could see if I'm a good student, because I remember this straight from memory. I ain't looked at nothing or whatever. You said it's 1,300 calories is a pound of fat. Is that right?
3,500. He was close. 35, yeah, 35. Yeah, 30.
I mean, I'm in the ballpark, man.
Yeah. 3,500 calories in 1 pound of fat. Absolutely.
So that means that literally, so if you go over sort of your caloric intake, because I think, obviously when it comes to weight loss, it really is as simple as burning more calories than you're taking in. I mean, it's that simple for the most part, right?
Yeah.
And so you're saying that if you go over, like you have 3,500 calories, that you're in not calorie deficit but calorie surplus, that's a pound of fat for the body.
Yeah. So you guys heard Edric say earlier that he gains weight easily. What he didn't tell you guys is that he doesn't sleep. So this guy owns about 4 or 5 different businesses. He owns a business on the lakefront, a restaurant, actually. So, he owns a restaurant on the lakefront on the south side. It's beautiful. So you got the funeral home, you got real estate, you got all of these different things that this guy does. So he doesn't sleep. So he actually gains weight because he never sleeps. Like, that's his issue. So sleep is just a really, really critical part of weight gain or weight loss. If you're not getting enough sleep, then you're going to have to do what this guy does, run 10 miles a day to actually burn it off, because that's what happens. Sleep is where you get your results from.
Interesting. Now, people don't think about that. Can you say something more about that? Because I think it's so important. People, let's put it this way. I think the common thought about food or weight loss or whatever is, starve myself and, do a bunch of cardio or whatever, right? Maybe. And you're saying that it's sleep, it's water. These are lifestyle issues. Either one of you can talk to this, but I think this is so important for people to recognize and understand.
Well, for me,
Ed, speak to that. Speak to that. He knows.
Well, for me, yes, I for a long time I took pride in resting as little as possible, primarily because that's what I saw growing up. My parents are workaholics, and we. Just from what you see, you deem your success, or you think that is the secret to success. And I had to learn that, rest is important. Water intake is important. Even when I started running, I wasn't drinking enough water, so I would just have leg cramps throughout the night. And then I read an article, Siddiq may have been on, sent it to me, talked about just how you can quietly be killing your organs due to dehydration as a runner. And so, I felt it scared me. I probably was 28, 29 at that time. So I just started drinking more water. And then I went through a phase where I was doing a lot of intermittent fasting. And with that, your food is and rest and water, that's like the secret. And I was just staying extremely slim and working out the least that I had worked out in years. So I was actually less I was gaining less weight. Hold on.
You want to finish, Siddiq?
Yeah, see, he's a business. The guy's a businessman. See,
Sorry, my system's coming. But so I was working out the least because of my work schedule due to the restaurant, but I was losing weight more than I was working out. So I was confused by that. Then I did more studying and realized because I was drinking a gallon of water a day, getting more sleep, and since I was only eating between the hours of 1 to 6, food during that 5 hours was so important to me. And so, you know, and I was barely working out because I just didn't have the time. But I was losing weight, felt amazing, and that's when I could definitely agree. And Siddiq and I talked, and we challenged each other as brothers, as you can see. So I had to definitely admit that he was right along the way. That bragging about not sleeping is not the secret to success. So since then, I can't say I've taken it all fully on, but I try my best to get a lot more sleep, drink a lot more water, and I still am a huge fan of intermittent fasting, and that really a lot. I mean, we all been to the gym, see somebody there every day, and like, well, dang, what happens between this workout and the next day? Because it's not going anywhere. But if you're working out, and one of the first things Siddiq told me when he started training was like, hey man, don't you wasting your money having me come if you're gonna mess it up via your diet when I leave. 80% of the results come via sleep and diet. He makes no secret about that. And unfortunately, we paid him for many years, and first maybe 1 or 2, and didn't follow that part. And when we started following that part as a family, we saw the results right away.
That's awesome. That's wonderful. Wonderful. I think it's critical that people understand that they can do it. And I love what you said earlier, Siddiq, about, manageable goals. I think it's very easy for people to get overwhelmed by this journey, particularly because it's also very countercultural. We in our society, and most societies, celebrate with food. Our society is different in the sense that not only do we celebrate with food, but we are advertised to thousands of times a day with food and things like that, and other things besides food as well. But we also are a wealthy society. And so in a wealthy society, there's a lot more comfort, right? And so we are able to sit around and watch Netflix and play Xbox and those sorts of things. During the pandemic, and I'll share this as a point of embarrassment and vulnerability, and I just will. But I do some acting and things, and I did a commercial for Cheerios during the pandemic.
Oh wow!
And I play a soldier, a soldier, and they got a shot of me from the camera. Literally is like on the ground, and I'm standing there in this costume, and and the commercial's still running. It's a national commercial, and I exhaled, and they bought me the super tight military suit. And I exhaled, and that camera was there, and I was like, "Oh, look at my stomach! Oh my God, I can't destroy the commercial. I can't watch it anymore. It's like it's too, And I remember I was like, "Man, in the pandemic when it first started, I was home working, eating, right?" And so that is kind of the culture that we're in. It's so easy to sort of just continue to eat, and so I want Siddiq for you to help us figure out manageable goals around this question of food intake. There's a lot of stuff out there. Do we eat more? Do we eat less? Your philosophy is that we eat less. Can you explain a little bit why and why that's important to you?
Well, culturally, we understand that words shape our culture, right? So someone gets into a relationship and they gain a few pounds, it's common to hear, oh man, she's treating you good, or everything's going good, huh? I see you putting on that love weight. A pastor gains a little bit of weight, they call it an anointed belly, right? So you got a guy, you know what I'm saying? He's not Steve, he's Big Steve. You know what I mean? We like to attach these words to encourage us. In our community nowadays, we have a body sensitivity. So, it's just like, hey, don't say anything negative about this girl because just because she's 300 pounds doesn't mean she's not attractive, as if diabetes cares if she's cute or not, right? So we have in our culture, it's shaped by the language that we use. Cute face. What does cute face mean? Cute face means that she's really, really overweight. That's what that means. So we have these ways of encouraging each other through our language to be overweight, out of shape, all of these things. So I always tell people the first step is you really have to be careful of the words that you use when you're describing yourself, when you're describing exercise, when you're describing eating healthy. These are some of the things that we have to, we're going to eat real good today. Nah, you're going to eat real bad today. Big Mama and Callahans, they do an amazing job as far as funerals. They'll have someone die because of a heart attack. Everybody cry in the funeral. They'll leave and eat the same thing that killed her at the repast. It's just like, come on, like, what are we doing?
Say that again, man. Say that again.
Yeah, that just took Big Mama out. So, so that's a huge part of it, man. Changing the language that you use, understanding the importance of it, small, attainable, realistic goals. And then that's how you start to shape your lifestyle. Because what the Callahans have what they've done is they've made health and fitness a lifestyle. Even at the end of the year gala, it was healthy food. It was a lot of healthy food they had there, man. This is a lifestyle for these people. And their son really heads it up, man. Literally. You know what I mean? So he definitely it's a lifestyle thing. So I love it. I love what they're doing.
That is man, that's fantastic. And what you said about sort of our family culture and what we eat is, man, it's so important and it's so critical. And I find that oftentimes in our community, and the sad thing is, and I love what you're doing with your family, bro, because oftentimes we end up, after 30 years of eating what's out here in the streets, right? Decide that, oh my goodness, can't eat that anymore. And it's very difficult to make that change after you've been used to eating a certain way. And so why don't you tell me a little before we got about 10 minutes left, but how do you guys do this as a family? Because I think that's really, really cool. And I think that is inspiring to a lot of people.
Well, one, you have to sit around the table with, I mean, my sister and I, we don't sugarcoat our conversation. So if you, if you are cute in the face and thick in the ankles and you get at the table, we're going to say something to you if you're family, right? And so we, as a family, we just are constantly challenging ourselves to be better. I'm not saying that's the best way to do it, but you ask, so I answer. So, and it's a lifestyle. My mother's always been in the like herbal medicine. She's always been in the like just health, and she was a big faster when I was a kid. Like, a lot of it, some of it was for spiritual reasons, others was for health. So that's what I saw, to be honest with you. And then, I mean, the vain side is, being in the funeral business, you end up in pictures and you do promo shots and you do interviews like this, and and you look back and you're like, wow, I gotta, this isn't right, and so I mean, it's a lot. Your family holding you accountable, you always wanting to be better than you were the day before, and what I saw growing up. So you bring all that together, and now and I got enough bad habits that I love going out to dinner. I'm always at restaurants, and I know that's like the worst thing, right? And so I've had to learn how to make that healthy. So it's not like I'm walking, we're walking around here just, eating, chewing on seasoned air and, and drinking water all day. It's not the case. It's just a matter of just being conscious about it and wanting to be better, right? And so if you have a bad day, you eat horribly, just get back at it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
What he's talking about is he has the ultimate support system. The ultimate support system. I really admire his family, because my family, they it's people on my mom's side that are so big that they're on my dad's side. Like everybody in my family, big house. Yeah, seriously, man. I don't have what he has. I have to avoid my family because if I hung out with them all day, I'd put on another 30, 40 pounds. So that's the thing. Yeah. So he has a support system of a family that's literally fasting together, encouraging each other, watching what they eat, all of those things. I always give the analogy is if you had an alcoholic in your family, it's not one of those things that would ever be encouraged. But you can have someone in your family that's 400 pounds and everyone tiptoes around it and never brings it up. So it's just like, why is weight such a sensitive issue? And we all know the repercussions. I would like him to talk about the different size caskets because that's a real issue. No one ever talks about this.
Well, I mean, it's just again, as people become bigger, things have to become bigger. So, you know, we are a country, specifically of people that are really struggling in this weight department. And it shows up across the board, right? You got bigger babies, you got bigger deceased. You know what I mean? It's just, you know, and we don't realize it's slowly killing us.
What's the price difference? What's the price difference? How much?
I mean,
how much?
it's like it's no different if you're flying and you need 2 seats. You got to pay 2 times the cost. I mean, if you need a casket that's normally, you know, whatever inches, and you need double the size, you got to pay double the size for the casket, double the size for the grave. You know, if you're being cremated, they're gonna it's just because, and that's horrible. I can't find a politically correct way of saying it, but at a certain point, obesity becomes inconvenient for everybody else around you. And at some point, to consciously stay obese is just being arrogant and inconsiderate to everybody around you. It's like, I mean, if you're flying on a plane and the person is really obese, now there are health issues that causes that make people struggle. But if you're just doing it for comfort reasons, you know, it's like you're on the plane comfortable, you laid back, and but you know, I've been in the middle seat where it's like, my God, you know, so it's just what it is.
Well, let me say this too, because I want to make sure that people, you know, are encouraged, right, in this
For sure.
conversation right?
I'm saying,
you know, and I'm not saying that. I'm just saying in general, because you know, like you said, I mean, there are some real issues here, right? There are psychological issues, to your point. You know, I think honestly, the other thing is, you know, this country, and I've done a lot of, you know, reading about this. There's stuff in our food, bro, that is awful. That is banned other places, and we're eating these things, and it just like the average things we think about eating are horrendous for us, right?
We'd have to do a whole nother show, and again, let me clarify my comments. When I say consciously, right, and the when you consciously are doing that is when the results are what I just said. Now the subconscious part is this: some of us in our heart and our mind and our soul really want to lose weight, okay? And you just don't know how. Your environment, you know, I'm blessed to have a family that's important, right? But if, like Siddiq said, if that's not in your environment, then you don't know, right? If you're not encouraged and you're not, the other part is processed food is killing us all, even skinny folk, because, you know, certain foods aren't meant to be on the shelves for 8 weeks before you consume it. That's just not what it is. So whatever the chemicals and the fact that we can't even advertise most of the food we eat overseas says something, right? If it can only be, you know, consumed here in America due to the lobbyists and things of that nature, that affects you because you can work out all day, and if you're just eating processed food, and I went through a phase of that. So that's why when I say conscious, because subconscious, I did not know. I went through a phase where I just was addicted to vegan cookies. That was my thing, right? And it was vegan protein cookies. So I call myself after a workout, feed my sweet tooth and being healthy. And it tore my insides apart. I mean, it really almost hospitalized me for a minute because I was just, processed food was killing me. And so I wasn't losing weight. I was hurting myself on the inside, but I was subconsciously trying, right? So I had to educate myself. And again, Siddiq sends all these. He, as a trainer, what I do love about him, he's not worried about our feelings. When he sends us articles, when you call him about a problem, he's not trying to pacify and rub you on your back and say it's gonna be all right. He's like, man, show me what you're eating, and then he's gonna say something funny. It's gonna sound rude, but when you really say it out loud to yourself, you're like, dang, okay, he made a good point. And so you got to have people around you if you really on this. Not only just when it comes to health and food and working out, but any part of life. You want people around you that's gonna hold you accountable. You're not my homie. You're not my friend. You're not my family. If you can't have, now I'm not saying embarrass me publicly or try me like that, because then the response is gonna be something different. But if you need to call me, if you were a third party on me and Siddiq and my conversation on the phone, it would sound rude. But he knows I love him, and I know he loves me, and we want the best for each other.
I got something. Go ahead.
I just want to ask you as well about this vegan thing. I want to ask you what you think about that. You can continue. Then I have a question in the chat box. What do you think about the vegan lifestyle?
So I lived it for a minute, for a long while, and I still am partially vegan. But let me explain. I was a junk food junkie as a kid, right? I was a honey bun addict, right? And it's like I had to start my morning by saying, "Hi, my name is Edric Calahan. I'm a junk food junkie," right? I had to go to AA classes for my junk food addiction almost. So when I went vegan, all I did was transfer those habits, right? I'm in native foods twice a day. I'm eating a vegan cookie. I'm ending my day, and while I felt good psychologically by saying, this isn't a real burger, what it takes to make an impossible burger is impossible, right? So when you really read, and again, it was Siddiq, man. I don't mean to keep pumping him up, but it's really honest truth. I was bragging to him one day about my vegan lifestyle, and he was like, "Man, why don't you try reading the back of that box?" And I couldn't pronounce half of the stuff. I'm like, "Well, this ain't what I want, man. Really, if it's not being pulled off a tree, and if it's not, coming out the ground and you eating it right away, being vegan can be almost as unhealthy as just going to eat a steak every day, to be honest with you, because it's so processed." And I'll let Siddiq continue that, but he's the one who really embarrassed me because I was, being so confident in my vegan lifestyle, but my quality of living was horrible because everything I was eating was processed. From the moment I woke up, I'm in Starbucks getting coffee and getting a impossible breakfast sandwich, right? And then for lunch, I'm at Native Foods. After my workout in the evening, I'm a vegan cookie, and at night I'm doing the Blaze vegan pizza, and I was like damn near every 4 days, right? And it almost took me out.
Yeah, that's real. That's real. Yeah, everyone. Yeah, the question that comes about is, how do you know someone's a vegan? And then the answer, kind of funny, is that they'll just tell you. Like it becomes a more of a conversational piece than a health piece. When it's a health piece, you can just assume there are foods that come from the earth. There are foods that come from the trees. That's vegan. That's vegetarian. Those are other things. All the other stuff that you're talking about, I've never seen a cookie with parents or a cookie grow. So you can attach whatever name you want to attach to it, but it's still a cookie. It's oh man, I'm about to eat these vegan Twinkies. Dude, it's still a Twinkie, dude. You can put whatever name you want in front of it. That's what it is. So I'm all for eating healthier. I can't tell anyone to adopt a lifestyle if it's not something that you have set up. If you do not have anything set up to go to a grocery store to get foods, to get this, to get that, you're really not a vegan. You're just someone that doesn't eat meat. So, and it's a huge difference between a vegan, vegetable, fruit person and a person that just doesn't eat meat. So I always say you have to make that distinction. I can't tell you. Are you really a vegan? Did you have an apple today? No. You have a carrot? No. You have broccoli? No. You have lettuce? No. Grape? You don't have any of that? You're not a vegan. You just don't eat meat. Call it what it is.
That's a great point. Phyllis Chavez Leah says, I find myself, hope I pronounced your last name correct. Says, I find myself not wanting to cook, and meal prep companies are pricey. They are. I was actually looking at some of these advertisements today, and I was like, man, I'd love to do meal prep. I don't have to think about it. Just, eat my protein, my vegetable, and be done with it. And it's portioned, right? Because I think that's a big issue. I know I find the portion issue. I play, and you guys play sports younger, and we just, you go to practice and you burn calories, and then you eat literally everything you can find, right?
And burn it off the next day.
And you burn off the next day. You're in shape. And I have to consciously go, I'm not 16. I cannot do that anymore. You know what I mean? And so meal prep, right? These meal prep companies are pricey. Can you talk about that for a second? Meal prep. I think maybe that's the
Yeah,
question.
absolutely,
And
absolutely.
portions.
What I always, my question always to someone, because obviously it's not cheap, but neither is a hospital visit, neither is a new lung, neither is a new foot,
Neither
neither
is a
is
funeral.
new knees. I had a guy, he got an infused spine, and the surgery was like 70,000. So they're not cheap, but you do have to balance, right? So how much is your health actually worth? Let's say hypothetically you get to live an extra 15 years. So when you say I get to live an extra 15 years and you're making, this amount of money a year, you make a lot more money being healthy. Callahan being in business, one of their biggest costs is healthcare. They're going to miss days. Those things, though, it's a huge financial burden because of that. The thing I would say is when you create a lifestyle where you don't go through a drive-through, where you do spend 10, 15, 20 minutes to cook, there's some other benefits that come with that as well. Relationships. It's a direct correlation between a family sitting down eating dinner and grades. How expensive is that? Relation between dating and eating. So it's not just a health thing. Everybody eats on the go. When do you have a chance to sit down and talk? So you have the time because and I don't know exactly what goes on in that young lady's life. It's a great question. But the Love and Hip Hop is an hour long. I need to know what's going on with Yandy and Mendici just like everybody else, but it's an hour to watch Law and Order. It's an hour to watch Chicago Med. It's an hour to watch Love and Hip Hop. And then when it's time to cook a 10-minute meal, people are like, I can't do it. I can't do it. 10 minutes to, to cook?
Yeah,
I can't do it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, come on, guys. You have to pick and choose. But it's one of the reasons that I like what my brother Ed always says. We have to be harsh because many of us, we don't truly understand the impact of the alternative. When you go to those hospitals and this guy is behind the scenes, when you see those bodies, when you see that grieving wife or that grieving husband, or when you see that child that's going to grow up without their parent at 16 and it really what the dad was only 55, then your perspective on health starts to change. And you're like, dude, we're not talking about vanity. We're not talking about appearances. We're not talking about being cute or this or that or where you can shop at. We are literally talking about life and death. John 10:10 says that he came that we may have life and have life in abundance. If you are someone that subscribes to the scripture, you have to understand that abundance means a lot of. And if you plan to have a lot of life, you can't die at 55. You can't die at 60. 65 isn't old. 70 isn't old. 75 isn't old. I had a guy that I was training that was a World War II veteran, and he was 97 years old, and he was doing exercise. What does that mean for his daughter to have her father in her life all the way until she's 71, 72? We are talking about changing a community by people just eating healthier and living a healthier lifestyle.
You see why you gotta love Siddiq? He go from beating you up and then take you to church and really on right.
Yeah, I was just about to say that
and honestly, this is not for TV. This is, if I screenshot our conversations, this is what it is. He's gonna tell you the harsh truth, and I think a lot of trainers, that's what makes him such an amazing trainer. A lot of trainers pacify their clients for the sake of being fearful of losing you. And if you choose not to call him back, Siddiq, is okay, but you're gonna at least know how he felt about it and what his decision was, and he's gonna stand by it. And typically he's able to relate it to an author, relate it to biblical the scriptures. He's gonna relate it to something that makes you sit down and say, well, man, you didn't put it on a plate in the best way, but once I got to chewing it, I really realized what you said was really best for me. And so that's what makes him such an awesome trainer and a motivator all at the same time.
That's fantastic. It's so funny. You took the words out of my mouth. I was gonna say, man, so you've been kind of hard on the folks, and then you took us to church. And so I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you very much. Phyllis says yes. Dominique Harmon says, I'm still growing. Oh, I'm sorry. Phyllis actually said I live alone. It should be easy for me, but I buy food at Whole Foods and throw it away. Dominique says that I'm still growing in my discipline muscle. I think that discipline in setting up small systems, planning ahead, and
And
support help.
she said something very important. Discipline and faith are muscles, and you have to work them out. And again, one of Siddiqu's quotes, like when I first started running, I could not run a mile, but he would just make it uncomfortable, and he was breaking down. Just like when you lift weights, you as a ex-football player, when you lift weights, you're tearing up the muscle, and it rebuilds itself. And that's Siddiqu's style. He's going to talk crazy to you while you're working out and running, but he's building your discipline. He's calling you out. And what the young lady said is, yes, I love the way that she phrased it by calling it a discipline muscle, your faith muscle. You got to work those things out for them to become strong.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. I go to the gym at 6:15 in the morning. I try to get there every morning. I don't make it every morning, but I am so inspired by the people who do make it every single morning. I probably make it 3 or 4 times a week. But there are people that I see there that they don't miss no matter what. Range. I was telling them this morning, I said, you all are amazing. And that's discipline muscle. And I think what it is for them, they don't even think about it. It's dark outside, 5 in the morning, and they never even think about it. And that is that's inspiring, right?
Probably their body probably just starts preparing to be just walking towards the gym do the habit.
And that's when you get there, when it becomes literally a part of you. And it's a lifestyle, which I think is so critical. We crash diet and get ready for this event and get ready for that. And it is a lifestyle, right, Siddiq?
Oh, absolutely. It's a lifestyle, but we forget one key word. It's a lifestyle choice. And many of us don't realize that we actually have a choice in how we live our lives. We're not just victims. It's not like someone just takes over. I mean, no one's perfect, but when you start to do things on a consistent basis, it becomes a habit, and a habit is a choice. If I'm somewhere and I can't get to some food, I'm in the McDonald's drive-thru just like the next person. But then you got to ask yourself, why are you always somewhere where you can't get any food? Like you had no idea at 40, 45 that you might get hungry. This was the first time this ever happened to you before. So, that's my thing. But I'm big on.
Right after he took us to church, he went right on back to beat.
Here you go.
It's okay.
Listen.
I should have stopped this broadcast after the church.
You should have.
You
should have opened the doors of the church as soon as
I really should have.
The church. The reason I'm so big on the church, and the reason that I'm always pushing it, is because the church actually leads. The Black church leads the world in obesity-related diseases. If you're 200, 300, 400, 100 pounds overweight, you have a place that you can go where everyone will treat you fair. They will love on you. They will not ask you to change. And that is the Black church. So when you go to a Black church every Sunday, you're going to see people open up the doors to pray for every single disease that everyone in the church has. And at the end of the service, we're going to make sure we serve you some food that caused every single disease we just prayed for you. That God relieve you from. So that's why I'm like, come on, we could. If the church gets in shape, then guess what? Everybody else gets a chance to get in shape. So the church is just like, listen, y'all are encouraging this, and this isn't my opinion. The scripture. I went into church one time, and I'll never forget. A woman had an attitude with me. She was upset. I'm telling everyone, eat healthy, all the same stuff I'm telling you guys. Let's exercise, let's do all this. A woman said, if it's not in the Bible, I don't believe it. She said, if it's not in the Bible, the stuff you saying, God don't want that. If it's not in the Bible, he made everybody different. I had to tell her it is in the Bible. It is in Matthew 7:13. The gates to heaven are narrow gates. Everybody, you're not gonna be able to. You can't turn to the side. So you know what I mean. I didn't write that. I had nothing to do with that. God made the gates. He made the gates so slim that everybody can't fit in. I didn't write the book of Matthew. I had nothing to do with that scripture. I didn't write the book.
Thank you, Siddiq.
I'm done.
I thought he was going to give us some scripture
Oh,
about healthy living.
tried
He
to.
hit us with a good one. I
laughing.
never heard that one, but I will say, as a person of faith, I have a ministry and some other things like that. I love the Matthew reference. The Bible does preach and say that that physical fitness does have value, and that our bodies are temples.
Does it say that the gates are narrow, brother? Please be honest. Does it say does the Matthew 7:13? Does it say the gates are narrow? Am I making this up? Because some people are not going to look up the scripture.
You're
Am
not
I
making it. Does say the gates are narrow, Siddiqu.
Thank you. So
I can't.
You could turn to the side. You're gonna have to turn to the side, but all right. I'm trying to make sure everybody get in there.
Oh my gosh!
You can't hop that gate. You're gonna have to get in, the old school way, and I just don't want nobody to do that. All right, I'm crazy,
folks.
I tried to start laughing early, so it was gonna be a joke.
Folks, we're done.
That's the Bible. The Bible is very serious. I didn't write the Bible. You can't put that.
Dr. Roberson put in the chat some scriptures about exercise.
Did she put the book of Matthews?
I don't think Matthew 7 is in there, but this is a new interpretation of Matthew 7, and it is okay. You heard it here. Siddiqu said the gates gonna be what? Narrow. So I mean,
Siddiqu, no, don't put that on me, because somebody will think that I wrote the Bible. I didn't write it. Siddiqu didn't say that the gate's gonna be narrow. Whoever wrote Matthew, is,
gosh.
We need to find out who Matthew wrote that. I didn't write that.
Hey man, thank you so much for having me on.
I'm done. I don't even know how to end this show. On that note, happy Friday, happy Saturday.
It was a good time. It was
good, man. Good talking to y'all.
Listen. For everybody, listen. We're gonna post the flyer up. I want you guys to see Edric Calahan in action. When he comes to our classes, he is the ultimate motivator. He's gonna be working out. We're gonna have him on the microphone. It's gonna be a great time. We're gonna have house music. We're gonna have hip hop. We're gonna be doing high fives. I do not care your fitness level. Come out and have a great time. It's a free class. It's January 23rd, and it's going to be at Thornridge High School, and we're going to make sure that everyone has the link. And we also have a daycare for your kids, where your kids can do a little kid workout in a private room. They're going to be right there. It's going to be a really, really good time. So we want Dominique Griffin is on here. We want Phyllis to come out. We want Tonya Roberson, who makes up every excuse not to come exercise at the classes. We want everybody that's in this live chat to come out, have a good time. It's going to be fun. Cynthia Maxwell is in here. And our illustrious host, we need you to come out, brother. We need you to come out.
I got you, bro. You know what? I didn't come the last time, and I'll be there. January 23rd. I'm putting my calendar right
January 23rd, 2 o'clock, 2 p.m. No, we made sure everybody's free. And nobody's doing nothing on Sunday at 2 o'clock.
The Bears might, well, no, they ain't gonna be playing that late. That's for sure.
Yeah.
No, you're right, bro. Ain't nothing going on. All right, I'll be there, man.
All right.
Thank you, gentlemen. Gentlemen, this has been a lot of fun. And all jokes aside, as Leek said, this is life or death. And I just appreciate your passion. I appreciate what y'all do in the community. You guys, this is so serious. And I just am happy to be able to share this time with you guys. Dr. Roberson said thank you, and wonderful show, and we want to have you guys back. And thank you everybody for listening. So thank you, Dr. Roberson,
thank y'all for having me
for this show, and thank you guys for being here. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Take care.